Welcome to Cut Up, a video series where I talk about specific scenes in movies and cut them up, or put my life at risk for a movie breakdown. This time we're talking about The Town, directed, written, and starring Ben Affleck. And Ben reminds us that it takes place in Boston every chance he gets, with what feels like constant shots of the city. So many that it actually kind of felt like a parody of other thrillers. So I wondered, how much of The Town is just shots of Boston? And when I went to go figure that out, I found out that there's a few different versions of the film as well. So, first off, the movie's called The Town because apparently this.
370 bank robberies in Boston last year. It's more per capita than anywhere else in the world. But guys like this, hardcore guys, pros, 90% of them emanate from a 1 square mile neighborhood called Charlestown. Familiar with it? Heisting banks is a trade in Charlestown, the way villages in old Europe used to be known for certain crafts. In the town, it's banks and armored cars.
Oh yeah, this is 100% true, you guys. Everyone in Boston knows how rough and tumble Charlestown is. I mean, look at these housing prices. You basically have to be a bank robber to live here. Still don't believe me? Well, then I'll show you in person.
Okay, just got over the bridge, and I am entering the belly of the beast. Charlestown, the Char-Char, the big C by the sea. Bank robber capital of the world. All right, I better move fast. This park is probably where all the criminals like to plan all their schemes. It's either here or that seedy oyster bar. Just look at how dangerous this place looks. The sidewalks are so old they're brick, and people have to pave their driveways in cobblestone like it's the 1800s. This place is dangerous. If you look over here, you could see the criminal headquarters looming over the residents of this war-torn city. Look at the banks here. They can't even say Charlestown. It's too dangerous. I mean, you'd be cautious too if you were so close to the houses of this many crime families. Here they all are, from right to left. You got the Peach Cobbler Gang, the Shamrock Shake Stranglers, the Greys, the Blue gives you a Boo Boo Boys, the Barn Red Robbers, the Canary Kids, and the Greys. That's the British spelling of grey, so don't get these two confused. You know, I really don't feel safe walking down these streets. Ben Affleck could pop out in a Nun Mask at any moment.
So, yeah, making Charlestown this dangerous place is kind of a weird choice. It used to be the hangout for the Irish mob, but that was over 40 years ago, and by 2010, when this movie came out, its reputation kind of precedes it. Now, it is a highly sought-after place to live. But we're not here to talk about if this premise has any truth to it. This movie is fiction, after all. We're here because we want to find out how much of this movie is just shots of Beansville, USA. So there are 3 versions of this movie. There's the 125-minute theatrical version, the 150-minute extended cut, and the 153-minute alternate extended cut that has an ending closer to the novel that the film is based on. Or so I'm told. I am not going to read that. I was able to get the 125-minute theatrical version and the 153-minute alternate extended cut. I then imported both of these videos into Final Cut Pro and stacked them on top of each other so I could see which parts were added, and then that way I could see if any of the stuff that was added was also added shots of Boston. I'm going to be using the same rules that I used in my While You Were Sleeping episode. Basically, if you could look at a shot and know exactly where in Boston that it's in, that counts. Example, I count this shot of Ben because it's an establishing shot, and I'm pretty sure I know where this is. Let me check real quick. Yep, there it is right there. That's where he's walking. I mean, those buildings have been replaced, and that bar that was right down the street is gone now. But that's it. There's the rolling door to get in. I mean, look at this place. It looks amazing. Bank robbers, they must really move quick to update their community. Anyway, it's a little subjective, but I mostly just count the shots where you could recognize stuff. So I scrubbed through 2 versions of the town and pulled all the shots of the greater Boston area that I could find. I then walked from Charlestown to Cambridge, stopping by the Harvard Tea Stop that's in the movie to quickly do a prayer for John Hamm.
You gonna catch them?
Yes. This is the FBI. We're not completely inept.
After that, I took all the numbers that I collected after scrubbing through the movies and wrote that down on a piece of paper. I then walked around Harvard Yard for a little bit to try to find the perfect spot, found it right here, and then I very carefully and meticulously buried it. I then left it there for a full moon cycle. Then I returned, dug it up, and that gave me all the answers. So, the results are in. Can you guess the percentage of Boston shots in this movie? The shots that you're seeing now are all shots I counted. Got your guess in? Okay. The runtimes that are listed online for films like this count the logos that you see at the beginning and all of the credits. I wanted to see the percentage of just the movie itself. So what I did is the same thing I did for the While You Were Sleeping episode. I started right when the movie started, and then I cut it off right when the credits start. So the theatrical version runtime is 118 minutes. The extended alternate version runtime is 146 minutes. In the theatrical version, there are exactly 12 minutes and 44 seconds of shots of Boston. In the extended version, that is 15 minutes and 53 seconds. So this means the theatrical version is 10.79% shots of Boston. I think we could round that up to a nice even 11%. The extended cut is 10.88%. That's 0.09% more, but we're still just going to round it up to 11%. Both films are 11% Boston. That is a lot of Boston. What surprised me most in this whole thing was that the extended alternate version had over 3 minutes more of Boston. I really thought that the stuff that was added would be mostly story-based, and to be fair, some of the shots that I counted did have dialogue in it, but it was mostly just added aerial shots of Boston. I mean, most of the shots I collected from both versions are aerial shots, and it's really hard not to notice this when you're watching the movie. In both versions, you'll start a scene with an aerial shot, you'll have a scene that lasts maybe 30 seconds, and then it ends with another shot of Boston. Here's a sequence that happens in both films. So it starts with a 7-second shot of Boston, goes into a 15-second scene, and then we get a quick 3-second shot that says, hey, that was night Boston before, now we're in day Boston, just so you know. And just so you remember, this thing's in Boston, okay? Don't forget.
All you give a fuck about is Coke and Xbox. Now you're trying to play it off like you care about Shine? Come on now.
You know what your fucking problem is?
What?
You think you're better than people.
Uh-huh.
Mr. fucking Clean, Mr. fucking goddamn Hide and Mighty, right?
Yep, I'm better than all these people.
Yeah,
You're right.
that's
I'm
what
better
you
than
think.
anybody in this fucking
You grew
project.
up right here. Same rules that I did.
And while I was scrubbing through both films, I also wanted to know, how much do we see these nun masks? Because I remember when this thing came out, these nun masks were all over the advertising for this film. It was in every trailer, there was posters for it, you could buy the nun mask for Halloween costumes. It felt like it was gonna be a big part of the movie. But then you watch it, and it's only in there for one small part. And after scrubbing through, I found that both versions have the exact same amount of nun mask. Wanna guess before I say it? These are all shots of nun mask that I used. Okay, you ready? There's only 1 minute and 46 seconds of nun mask. So that means the theatrical version is 1.5% nun mask, and the extended alternate version is 1.2% nun mask. That's not a lot of nun mask. But what about the most important part? What are the differences between these two versions? Well, a big difference is that we get more time with John Hamm's character. We get to see his motivations and learn more about kind of everybody in the story because he's an FBI agent who interviews a lot of people. We also get more time to develop the love story between these two, and that helps a lot. When I first saw this movie, I saw the theatrical version, and I remember questioning why these two liked each other at all, and I don't remember how they became so close to begin with. The extended cut does a way better job of showing us this. They show us a full date that we never got to see in the other movie, so that does help. But to be fair, Ben is still the guy that kidnapped this woman at gunpoint, so I kind of have a hard time with this love story.
I have a boat.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you would do well in Marblehead.
Yeah, maybe. It's not my boat. It's my friend's boat. You should, let me take you for a ride sometime.
I'd love that sometime.
What about, right now?
There's also some stuff in the extended cut that you may or may not find helpful. Remember when I was talking about that ice skating rink shot from before? Well, we get exactly this much extra of Ben walking. Want to see it again? Did you miss it? Okay. And go. Done. Maybe you saw this in theaters and you're like, you know what? I want to see that car make the full turn. The extended cut got you covered. I'm really happy that this extra is in both versions because she just crushes it here. Checking her non-existent watch, dressed to the nines with no place to be. The biggest difference between these two versions is the ending. If you haven't seen the film yet and are interested in watching it, then I would suggest the alternate extended cut because I think it has a way better ending. If you haven't seen The Town and don't want to have the ending spoiled, then skip to this part of the video. This is your spoiler warning before I move on. Okay. The original theatrical cut has what I call a magical happy ending that basically rips off Shawshank Redemption. Ben uses public transit to escape the law, moves to the south where he lives in an old shack, and gets around via boat. In the alternate extended version, Ben is on his way out of town, but is confronted by a drug dealer that him and Hawkeye beat up earlier in the film. Ben is then shot and robbed. With the way that this alternate extended version is set up, it's really the only true ending to Ben's character. The theatrical version feels like it's only happy because a focus group wanted a happy ending. In both versions, Ben's note to his love interest is exactly the same.
No matter how much you change, you still have to pay the price for the things you've done. So I got a long road, but I know I'll see you again. This side or the other.
So in the theatrical version, this is literal, and it insinuates that they're going to be together again and they're going to have a happy ending. In the alternate version, this is more of a, I'll just be fine, don't worry about me, kind of a little wink and nod, see you in the afterlife maybe kind of thing. So there you go. That's how much of The Town is in The Town. How does this info make you feel? Does it make you like The Town more or less than before? Let me know in the comments. This might be the most Boston movie that is ever Bostoned, but let me know if you think that there's something that can rival it. Please subscribe for more high-quality content like this. Give that like button a little tappity-tap-tapperoo for me. If you want to see how The Town stacks up against other movies percentage-wise, then check out my While You Were Sleeping episode. Laters.